Well, folks, we're one day closer to the start of a new season. Hunter Brown is looking really good. JP France is getting ramped up. And the offense seems to be firing on all cylinders. And Jose Altuve even talked about how he loves the protection of Yordan Alvarez behind him. Let's talk about it on this AM edition of Locked On Astros. Hey, Yainer Diaz, what do you say?
Yainer Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
Good morning. We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman, and you can find me on X at Eric Talk Astros. You can find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every morning. Go ahead and subscribe to us on YouTube and go and become an everydayer. Somebody listens to our podcast every day. So go ahead and today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. So opening day is coming around the corner. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Guys, we got a lot to talk about, but Brett, let's go ahead and say who you are first.
Hey, guys, I'm H.M. Wheelhouse. You can find me at X, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find me at Stros411 on X, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros. You know, Eric, I really like the way this spring training is shaping up compared to last year. You know, we look at last year, we had the World Baseball Classic. We had 15 players leave camp early. We had the horrible injury of Jose Altuve. Yordan Alvarez was, having issues. I mean, there were so many things to kind of be worried about going into 2023. And it seems like this year, you've got a full spring training. You've got Jake Myers really finding his stride at the plate. Yainer Diaz being able to cement himself as the starter. Jeremy Pena hitting the ball better. And Hunter Brown, dude. Like, this is a guy that we've talked about all offseason that needs to have a bounce back year. And it's tough to say bounce back year because last year was his first full major league season. So I think we have to give him a little bit leeway on developing because you look at greats like Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan, when he first got called up, was sent back down. He had an ERA of like 27, and he went on to be one of the greatest pitchers of all time. Now, I'm not saying that Hunter Brown is Nolan Ryan, but Hunter Brown is still very young in his career. And I think this year he could really solidify himself as one of the top three positions in this bullpen for years to come. And I really like what I'm seeing out of the kid.
Yeah, definitely. Joe Espada addressed a lot of people have been. I think Hunter Brown made a comment earlier this year that he kind of ran out steam towards the end of the season, and that he has made some changes this offseason to kind of combat that. And Joe Espada kind of addressed that. He said that's part of the development. I don't want to really call it worn out. We've been asking these kids to throw a lot of innings at a very early age in their career. We're playing for the World Series title every single year. So they're learning on the biggest stage in baseball. So, but just what Hunter Brown has done so far, he has shown that he is the Hunter Brown of old. He didn't allow an earned run in 3 2/3 innings of Tuesday's 9-1 win over the Marlins. And Brown says it was tough to put the nail on the head when it was trying to figure out what was wrong in 2023. But he said that he went in to make sure his body was ready this last offseason. And he was trying to make sure he can go deeper into games, deeper into the season. But we have to remember, before last year, the most innings he's ever pitched was 114 or something like that. So it was definitely something it was on his mind. He has definitely some discussions with the Astros strength and conditioning staff and my own trainer back home, trying to help me be able to manage a larger workload. Hopefully I can hit the ground running this year, have more success in the tail end of the season.
So Eric, yeah. So, and Hunter addressed that. I believe at FanFest, he talked about how he didn't realize how much the fatigue messed with his mechanics because when you're in that situation for the first time, I mean, it's like, riding a bike. It's like, or going from a bike to a 10 speed, from a 10 speed to a motorcycle. I mean, it's just the progression. And, that's why baseball is such a difficult sport, because you can have guys that are absolutely elite guys throwing gas in college. They get to the minor leagues, they're just crushing it. And then they get to the pros and it's just making that next step. And I've always felt like with his mental makeup, with his background, and even the fact that Hunter Brown didn't even attend a D1 school, I don't think is a disadvantage. That's what we've learned with these minor leaguers before they become pros is, I don't care if they went to D1, D2, or D3 schools. It's about the personal makeup and it's about the drive. And this kid, Hunter Brown, has a drive, has a determination. And I think he wants to be one day the ace of a staff. And I think he has the ability to do that. He just has to trust the process. And I think this year you're going to see Hunter Brown, some really good developments out of him this year. And I'm excited because with this offense, I think being better than last year, and as someone like Hunter Brown to be in this bullpen, I mean, in this starting rotation, whether he's in the front or the middle, he's going to be dominant.
Right. He's also working on a new pitch. He's calling it a slower slider. So he has the slider, then he has one that's slower. So he threw it 5 times yesterday, or I think 5 times or so. But one of them, he got a ugly swing and miss by Christian Betancourt. But he says at times it's working really well. At other times, probably not. But it's a new pitch I'm trying to get better at. And I'm using the opportunity this spring to try to do it. I like the progression, but it's not perfect, and I probably won't be. I'm just putting one foot in front of the other and trying to put myself in a good spot. So Joe Espada said Hunter Brown is a very important piece to the puzzle. I expect him to take a step forward and continue his development. We're going to count on him to provide some important innings throughout the season. So the word of the day is step forward.
That's right. Step forward. I'm excited. And then what was great about his performance was the offense performance. And of course, it's funny, earlier this morning, I talked to Matt Migas with ESPN Southwest, Louisiana on his podcast. And he was like, are we worried about the, Astros, being 9-8? And we talked about basically the pointlessness of the record, but
Right.
what is happening at the plate. I mean, Altuve, Alvarez, Bregman in this game, Eric, they had 5 hits in 9 at-bats. I mean, and then you get down to McCormick. McCormick went 2 for 3. Hey, Leon went 2 for 2. He's up to 308, Eric. And I know it's spring training, but Pedro Leon having a promising spring is not something you should be upset about. And then even Greg Kessinger got a hit. He had a couple RBIs. So this lineup, top to bottom, is looking really good. And it helps when your starting pitchers are going out doing what they're supposed to be doing. In the middle, Taylor Scott, dude, this kid, 1.2 innings, 3 strikeouts. And then Mashinsky did it again, 3 strikeouts in 1 inning. So this was a complete game. This was a good win for the Astros because everything was working. And the Marlins are probably going to be competing in a very tough AL East, but they're not a bad team.
Yeah, Luzardo is one of their best pitchers. He had 200 strikeouts last year, so he's definitely one of those up and comers. And a lot of teams are actually trying to trade for him. And the Marlins are saying, no, we like this kid. The A's, they should not have let this guy get away because he's gonna be one ace of the future. But Altuve actually said he actually likes Alvarez batting behind him because he's not used to having such a prolific hitter behind him. So it gives it like they're like, let's throw pitches to Altuve because we don't want to really have to face.
And that's it. And that's what I mentioned at the top of the show. It's just because it's so important. Here is a guy that is a surefire 300 hitter every season. This is a guy that even now has potential to get 200 hits in a season. And he's like, would you rather throw to me or would you rather throw to Jordan? And the thing is, if Altuve gets on base, whether it's a walk or whatever, because see, Altuve is aggressive, so he's less likely to walk. but he's
Right.
more likely to get something in the zone. And so I'm telling you, I think this is going to be one of the most fun offensive seasons that we've seen. And I don't think the home thing is going to be an issue at all.
Yeah, I think that's something that was in 2023. I think that they're going to put it behind them. They're going to put their best foot forward in a new season and just look definitely towards the future. But we'll talk about JP France. He's supposed to make his first game action pretty soon. What's going on, Justin Verlander? And we'll go ahead and take a look at the projected 26-man roster in a second.
Yeah, this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks today. Let me tell you about Prize Picks. It is North America's largest daily fantasy sports platform. It is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports because it's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, you pick more than or less than with 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. And the app is fun. It's got some new features, and then the coolest feature I like is Demons and Goblins. Now, Demons is if you are in it for just the excitement, you want your heart rate to go up, you could win 100 times your money. That means if you bet $10, you could win 1,000. But if you're cautious and you want to choose the Goblin, that means the green will keep rolling in. He's in green. Click on him. If you're in the NBA, you can pick more or less than everything from 3-pointers made to rebounds. And if you're into spring training baseball and you're watching as closely as we are, you can pick more or less than with strikeouts, first inning runs, home runs, so much more. So download the app today and enter the code Locked On MLB in all lowercase, all one word. Get the first deposit match of up to $100. Join Prize Picks today. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Guys, check out Locked On Sports today. It's the first 24/7 streaming platform out there. But check out, if you're an Astros fan or a baseball fan in general, next week, mark your calendar, March 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have the MLB season preview coming out exclusively on Locked On Sports Day on March 20th at 7 p.m. So be the first to get the local insight from the MLB local experts of Locked On Podcast Network. Find it on March 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Locked On Sports today. 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube or on the free Amazon Fire TV app. All right, so Brett, not only did the Astros score 9 runs yesterday, but they scored 6 in 1 inning. So the fact that they're able to have these 4-run innings, 5-run innings, 6-run innings to spring training. I know it's spring training. It's a lot different than a regular season game,
Right.
but this is what we didn't see a lot last year. We saw them score some runs here or there. I mean, they did win a lot of games last year, but the offense was kind of hit or miss at times. But I think what we're going to see with this front-loaded lineup and then maybe the back end of the lineup hitting a little bit better, I think we're going to see more lopsided innings and more, let's just say, the party animals versus the bananas, the Savannah bananas, where there's like
no, right.
So,
It definitely won't be. Look, banana ball is exciting. I wouldn't mind. So, for what it's worth, Rob Manfred, because we know you listen to Locked On Astros every single day, the MLB commissioner. I don't mind. Well, I don't know if I would want fan outs, but I like the fan challenge. I think we can add that. I really think the Astros need to do toddler races. That would be hilarious. Look, if Major League Ballparks could do in between inning things rather than just the mascot we love orbit, that would add an
that would
element.
slow down the game, though, Brett. That's what Rob Manfred's trying not to do. You remember, you got the pitch clock. You only got 2 minutes between innings.
We could do the Cougar race. That didn't take that long.
Well, I don't think they're going to want old ladies running around the bases drinking beer.
Hold on. These were not old ladies, Eric. They were just Cougars. They were in their 40s and 50s. They're not old. Okay. I mean, we're in our 40s, right?
Yeah. And what Major League Baseball players could be like, okay, I'll
You're right. Oh no, trust me. No, there's no way they're gonna let a fan carry a Major League player on their back. No, you're right about that.
There's a lot of stuff. Even the throwing the bananas from the upper deck to somebody's pants, they're not going to let Mike Trout. The reason why I bring Mike Trout up is a lot of players are complaining about that ESPN top 100 list we talked about the other day. A lot of players across baseball are complaining about that list and saying that the people that made the list had some recency bias, and they're saying that Mike Trout is down too far. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. But definitely JP France. JP France is he's had a little bit of a setback, kind of like Justin Verlander, but I think that he's going to be ready to come back pretty soon. I believe that he's going to make a start. He's going to pitch in a Grapefruit League game on when is it? He's going to make it at some point this weekend. It's either on Saturday or Sunday. So he's going to make his first start sometime this weekend. And if he does make that start, then he should be able to get 2 more starts in before the start of regular season. And the Astros are confident that he will be ready to get to at least 5 innings by opening day.
No, yeah. And I think that's great because JP France, what's great about him is he was really the most consistent pitcher last season. And he has the confidence, but he's also not overconfident to where he knows what he needs to work on when he needs to work on it. And I think because of his age, because he's like 26, 27, pitchers typically hit the league unless they're like a phenom mid 20s, but he's had the experience. He's been through the ups and the downs. And I think that only works to the Astros' advantage. I think it works to JP France's advantage, but JP France is kind of a Swiss Army knife. Like, let's just say for all intents and purposes, at some point in the season, they have to move someone like him into a long reliever role. Okay. He could do that and he would do that. But I think if he comes in and he's able to have a good start, because look, man, we've got some banger games like the first 2 weeks. I mean, the Astros aren't playing chump change. It's the Yankees and the Braves. And the Braves, everybody, sorry, Dodgers, the Braves are the odds-on favorite to go to the World Series because they have got, I don't know if you've seen Spencer Strider and the Braves and what they're doing. Oh, my God, that's a scary team. Mm-hmm. So if JP France can solidify his spot in the rotation early, that will be huge.
Yeah, so Todd said that JP told him at spring training that he was not going to start the season on IL. And you like those players like that, the ones that are determined. Look, I'm going to be in that rotation. I'm going to do what it takes to get the job done.
Is Todd sources?
I guess Todd is sources. So, but I think
taking random guess word for it. But that's okay. We trust you, Todd. But yeah, and so thanks. I just want to get that out there.
Yeah. So it's good. We're still waiting to hear when Justin Verlander is going to get his first game action in. So he definitely is not ready for the regular season. So I think that they did a good job by saying they're going to put him on IL. I don't know if they've actually put him on IL yet, but they're going to put him on eventually. But we do know that there's a lot of issues going on right now with the Yankees. The Yankees are... we'll talk about the 25-man roster in a second, or 26-man roster in a second. But a lot of teams right now are chasing Dylan Cease because we talked about the other day, Garrett Cole. There's a lot of concern about Garrett Cole's elbow. They said that there's not really any pain, but he hasn't been able to bounce back after his between starts, and he doesn't feel right. And so if there's any issues with his elbow, he's the second best pitcher in baseball, behind Strider, or depending on what rankings you look at. And so the Yankees have been going aggressively back after Dylan Cease, which has made other teams go back after Dylan Cease, including the Texas Rangers. And the Texas Rangers, according to Ken Rosenthal, are close to landing Dylan Cease. So they probably have the talent to get the job done more than the Yankees. The Yankees still don't want to give up Spencer Jones. That's the player that the White Sox want. So there's other teams in the mix for Dylan Cease. I don't think the Astros have what it takes to go compete against the Rangers or the Yankees. No. Yeah, no, or they probably don't even have the need, really.
No. the Astros aren't going to go out and get anybody. And I still have a problem with these lists that will list now. Spencer Strider's listed number 1 on one of these lists because it's an individual. He said if Cole misses time, there's no way Spencer Strider is better than Garrett Cole, period. I just, at this point in his career, there's no way. Garrett Cole, to me, is the best pitcher in the league, hands down. He's earned that. And right. I just, look, once Spencer Strider, over the next 2 or 3 years, he could easily take that mantle. I don't have a problem with that. We got a ton of talent in this league. The AL East is stacked over there. They got Wheeler just signed that massive deal. I mean, the NL is going to be a bloodbath towards the end of the season. But before we move on and talk more about the roster, Eric, let's tell everybody about Game Time. All right, guys, you have heard me over and over talk about Game Time, and I've used it myself. Gone are the days of confusing apps, trying to find your tickets in your wallet or your purse or whatever you bring to the game. You just go to Game Time, download the app, and you don't even have to plan months in advance. Like, you can literally wait till the day of the game. I've done it. I'm not just making that up. You basically download the app and use the code Locked On for $20 off. And let me tell you, it's not just baseball. They've got killer deals for everything from plays to comedy to basketball to football and so much more. It's fast and easy. And basically what you do is you get the app, 2 clicks, and you got the tickets. They're right there. And you can open up your phone, walk in the venue, you're there. But before you get there, if you want to see what it looks like from your seat, you get to see that. They also have flash deals, which give you amazing deals. They have zone deals where you don't really know the row or the section, but it's the best deal for that game. You can get it, and I promise you, your satisfaction is definitely guaranteed. The lowest price, they have event cancellation protection and job loss protection. God forbid you need something like that, but they do have those things. All-in pricing is a big part of this. I am real big on these ticket apps when they ask me, like, say, oh, it's $100. And when I get to check out, oh, oops, it's $140. You know right up front what's going to happen and what you're going to be charged. So go to Game Time, download the app, create the account, use the code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create that account, redeem the code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
Guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go subscribe to us. Go and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify. Wherever you listen to your podcast, go and check us out. But go and check out Locked On Sports Today. It's here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV channels app. So, Brett, before we move on from Dylan Cease, this is what a anonymous source told Ken Rosenthal, somebody that works for the Rangers. He says, have you seen our rotation in the first half? Basically saying it's no bueno. So they need to go out and get somebody. It's Nathan Eovaldi, John Gray, Andrew Heaney, Dane Dunning, and Cody Bradford. It's not terrible, but you're missing Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer, and Tyler Mahle, however you say his name. But and that's not even, they could go out and get Jordan Montgomery, but I think that they are dealing with money issues as well. So
the Rangers do have a money problem. The Rangers have a big money problem. And that's why I really think that their run is a one and done situation. I'm sorry, Rangers fans. And I'm not saying the Rangers aren't going to be competitive. I'm not saying the Rangers are a bad team. They are a very good team. They have a very good offense. But if you don't have the pitching staff to compete, I mean, we saw it when we had a pitching staff in our first World Series that we made, but no offense. Okay. But if you don't have a pitching staff to back up the offense, then the other team can just go to town on you. And, I don't know that I saw the Astros collapsing those last 2 games the way they did. But I talked to a couple Rangers fans this past weekend at the Savannah Bananas game, and they said, I really thought that after y'all won Game 5, that y'all were going to go home and easily win at least one of the 2 games. So they are in some serious trouble. And financially, yeah, that's what happens when you dip $800 million into like 2 players or 3 players. And that's why I like the Astros position in longevity, as far as I think this run continues for the next 2 or 3 years at least.
If you're wondering why Cease over Montgomery, Cease is only earning $8 million. He has another year of arbitration, so that's why. And Rosenthal goes on to say that the scouts, the White Sox scouts, have basically gone and basically have descended in droves upon the Rangers camp this week to look at the Rangers prospects to see who they would want to take on. So basically, I think the best fit would probably be the Rangers. So when healthy, the Rangers could have, if they make this trade for Dylan Cease, they could have, once you have Scherzer and DeGrom back, they could have a pretty dominant rotation. But the Astros still have the deeper one. But we'll see. I mean, I don't know, because that's a pretty scary rotation if they do add Dylan Cease.
It is, but can DeGrom and the other guys, when they get healthy, stay healthy? I mean, that's what happens when you sign guys that are oft injured. That's why I'm glad the Astros haven't gone out and gotten certain players,
That's true.
Injuries are a big part of the game. And, you mentioned Garrett Cole earlier, but the Yankees are concerned about Aaron Judge as well. Aaron Judge was also going for an MRI.
He had an MRI on his abs. That's kind of interesting. So even John Boy was like, this is the first time I've ever heard somebody get an MRI on his abs.
Well, I'm telling you, man, I mean, that is a big dude. That is a large frame to carry around to keep healthy. So I can't imagine the maintenance on just Aaron Judge's physique, because he's in phenomenal shape and he's a great athlete. And even though he's a Yankee, he's one of the most fun, like, baseball players to watch.
Right.
And you hate to see someone like that injured. And so it looks like the Yankees have got a lot of trouble early on. I would be surprised if the Yankees don't make a hard push for Montgomery or Snell.
Yes. So I know that we've been kind of teasing the 26-man roster for the past couple of days. I mean, there's some obvious spots. Of course, your starting rotations could be Valdez, Javier, Urquidy, Brown, and Dana Brown has made it pretty apparent that JP France is going to be ready for the regular season. So that's your starting. The bullpen is kind of up and down right now. Right now, I would think it would be Josh Hader, Ryan Presley, Rafael Montero, and Ronel Blanco. Possibly he could be your 6th starter, likely. Brandon Bielak could be a long reliever. Then you can have Seth Martinez, Bennett Souza. And you might be saying, wait, you didn't say Brian Abreu. Yes, remember, Brian Abreu will be on the 26-man roster, but he cannot play for the first 2 games because he'll be suspended.
Exactly. Yeah, so one of the things we haven't really talked about is Montero is actually looking really good in spring.
Right.
And this is an even number year. And maybe an even number of years, Montero, maybe it's his year.
But one person that you've been bringing up, Bennett Souza, he has not been looking good. But what's the other lefty? The one he had 3 strikeouts yesterday in the game. I can't think.
You talking about Mushin?
Yeah. He has a 0 ERA. He's looking pretty good this spring. Maybe he gets the opportunity. I don't know if Souza has any minor league options left, but that could be an issue there. So
who Mashinsky's out of minor league options?
No, Souza.
Okay, yeah, Souza. I don't know. Like, I was it was promising when he first came up last year, but I think Mashinsky makes this bullpen easily.
Right.
He's too good. He's your only other lefty right now, and I mean, why not? It's not going to hurt to have him in there, and so I think the Astros bullpen is going to shape up just fine. Todd, who is Sources, is asking us about Jose Abreu's knee. I haven't heard any updates on his knee or how he's doing. That they haven't really said much about it that I've seen. But
that's a good thing. The fact that they're saying that it's okay, it's not a big deal. I know the Astros have been kind of not overly transparent in the past, but the fact that they're not making it a big deal means it really isn't a big deal. It's just a sore knee. So we've all had sore knees in the past. So maybe it's just something that's going to be a minor issue. So I did kind of the only other, let's just kind of close off with this. Gray Kessinger is kind of the last guy on the bench. I have John Singleton making it, but Gray Kessinger could also possibly be.
But if Gray makes your list, does that? I mean, if Singleton
Cabbage would be off. Yeah.
does that? Yeah, I don't see Singleton making it over Cabbage or Gray. To be honest with you, it doesn't make sense to me.
Cabbage hasn't really done anything this spring training. That's the only thing. But
I know,
but neither has Gray Kessinger. But Gray Kessinger can play the infield too.
But Gray Kessinger is very good. Gray Kessinger is very good when he gets in there. Don't forget the line drive he caught in Game 5.
Yeah. Well, I know that Cabbage could play first base, but to kind of close out the show, I know a lot of players, including Carlos Correa, had some thoughts about Mike Trout being 19th on that list and saying that a lot of players should be ranked differently and that they have recency bias. I know that we're going to talk a little bit more on tonight's show about Shohei Ohtani being behind Alvarez on that list. But I think Correa was like, well, if he did, just imagine if he didn't miss a whole most of the season every year, how good this player would be. Yes, that's the issue.
Well,
so
I'll end the show with this. Mike Trout, don't be injured and play more, and you'll be ranked higher.
Yeah. So, guys, that's all we got for this edition of Locked On Astros podcast. Make sure you go subscribe to us. Make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, and Spotify, and we will see you later tonight. Go Astros.